Hi, I'm Jude from headfi.org, and on this episode of headfi TV, we have another first look at a new headphone, this time from V-moda, and we have a special guest, Val Colton, CEO and founder of V-moda, all the way in from Milan, Italy, to headfi HQ. So, Val, what are we looking at today?
The V-moda XS.
A lot of headfires are probably looking at the headphones around our necks, thinking they're looking at the V-moda M80. And that's a reasonable thing to think at first, because from a distance, the XS, which is around my neck, looks a lot like the V-moda M80. But once you put the XS on your head, you realize very quickly you've got a new headphone on from V-moda. Now, the M80 is probably the single most talked about on-ear headphone on headfi of the last several years. So I think a lot of you, again, know the M80. But I'm going to let Val tell you now what the XS is relative to the M80 and other products in the V-moda line.
At V-moda, I like to say the greatest sound for the greatest amount of people, and that the fit is the sound. So for the XS, we actually took over 7 years of R&D in ergonomics of the headphone and people's heads and ears to make sure that we had the best fit for the greatest amount of people. So we actually were able to improve the M80's fit, sound, and also the size with the XS.
Yeah, and I think it's actually worked really well. So the one thing with the M80, again, it's a very popular headphone on headfi, but I've actually said this before, when I put it on, sometimes it takes some adjusting, like I need to twist it a little bit to get out of my head, but the XS fits on my head like perfectly, instantly. Like it's much more flexible, the clamping force is lighter, and the pads just sit on perfectly from the get-go.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to be very important to, obviously, the sound, to make sure that the experience is consistent from person to person, and even for each person as they put it on. Because this one, I don't really feel any need to twist or manipulate. Once you put it on your head, it like fits perfect. And also the clamping force is substantially lighter. Like this is the XS, this is the M80, and the clamping force to me feels quite a bit lighter on the XS. So actually, can you talk about like the comfort actually, because it's quite a bit more comfortable than even the M80.
Yes, so the comfort is critical. An on-ear headphone, by its own definition, is a very hard headphone to manufacture and design, because it actually is sitting on the ear and then around your head as well. And so it's critical to maximize the surface area that is actually fitting on the top of your head, and then minimizing the pinching force at any part of the ear. So it takes, and one of the things is that it just takes a lot of time. There's no really way to test this with a variety of heads and ear shapes out there, except for just learning the craft over years of fine-tuning how every little part of it fits together.
Was there a lot of prototyping?
Oh yeah, yeah. So we do as much R&D by data and lab research that we can in advance while we're designing the headphone. But then at the end of the day, we really just have to try it on lots of people's heads and try it for months on end. And we actually have over the course of from sketching to the launch of XS, it's been almost 7 years, and probably has gone through about 100 different variations in sizes of the headband and the angles that the arms come out, and many other small factors that went into the ultimate ergonomics.
Actually, I wanted to talk about a couple of those points that Val mentioned as far as comfort goes, because this is one of the most comfortable on-ear headphones I've worn. So they're on the ear, which is inherently, for a lot of designs, less comfortable than around the ear, of course, because they do rest on your ear, as Val said. But a lot has been done to really make this comfortable. So one of the things he mentioned was, well, we talked about the clamping force. It does seem quite light, actually, but even though it's light, it still stays on very, very, very firmly, because you actually said you run with these, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things about the headphones, is that I actually am an avid runner, and I try them out almost every day as part of the testing of the different ergonomics.
Okay, so it stays on. Even though the clamping force feels light, it does stay on, yeah, firmly. Okay, so that's cool. Now the other thing that he mentioned that I've actually talked about before in other headphones on headfi TV, I believe maybe even in the guide, but we talk about the surface area that's touching your head. So if you look at the headband on top of my head, you'll see a lot of the headband, the inside of the headband, is actually touching my head. So there's more surface area to distribute the weight of the headphone on. And it's a pretty lightweight headphone to begin with, but with all the surface area of the headband touching my head, or so much of it touching my head, it really feels lighter than it is, and it's already a very light headphone. So I have to say that the V-moda XS is probably one of the most comfortable, perhaps the most comfortable of this type of on-ear headphone that I've used so far. So I did want to talk about the sound quality. V-moda says as one of its slogans, the fit is the sound. And I think with this, I'm getting a more consistent fit again. I don't have to manipulate it as much to get the fit on my head. And I think it's kind of like almost like a two-channel, like a speaker system. There's a sweet spot with a lot of those. Yes. And I think a good fit is like getting in the sweet spot quicker, more consistently. And with this, again, the fit is instant when I put it on relative to the M80. The M80 fits nice on my head, but I do have to kind of twist it sometimes to get it to sit exactly right. With the XS, I haven't had to do that. So I like the fit I'm getting with it. But the fit is the sound. Let's talk about the sound of the M80. I mean, I'm sorry, the XS, because I do feel it's an improvement over the M80.
Yeah, so at V-moda, we listen to the customers, and in addition to improving the ergonomics to create a better sound, we also improve the consistency and also the highs, and overall did a little bit of nip and tucks to the sound to improve it for everybody.
So it wasn't just the fit. There were probably, I don't know how much detail you're going to go into.
Maybe it's a little bit of voodoo.
A little voodoo, a little secret sauce. So, but there were changes other than fit that you did to improve the sound.
Yeah, well, we didn't want to drastically rock the boat, as I like to say,
right, because
the M80 was already the top-ranked headphone on the HeadFi's
in the on-ear category.
In the on-ear category, is the #1 ranked headphone, and has a very, I think it's a great sounding headphone as it is. But we do always try to make improvements over time, and they're definitely inside of the XS.
One of the improvements I wanted to hear over the M80, if there was going to be an improved M80, was better treble extension or a more sparkly, more crystalline, clear treble. And the prototypes that you brought in, I've heard that. Yeah. So I'm really pleased with what I'm hearing in that regard.
Terrific.
Yeah, and I think that it is an improved M80 in that regard. I don't think you've sacrificed anything at all from the M80, but you have made it a clearer, better headphone that actually fits better. So yeah, I think this is going to be. I don't think there's going to be even a diehard M80 fan who doesn't prefer the XS.
So for the XS, we also try to not only concentrate on just the sound itself, but also this what I call psychoacoustic properties, which is how big the sound sounds like it's coming from, and the staging, so that when you close your eyes, it sounds like it's coming from a nice big sound system or a concert, and not just inside your head like so many other headphones do. And this is a very important part of the sound signatures of the V-modas. And I believe that the XS even isolates better than the previous M80 for an improvement in the staging and isolation.
Yeah, probably because of the fit.
And one more thing at V-moda that I obsess about almost every night is the consistency of headphones and speaker drivers. I learned early on that this is a very important part of the production process, much like making fine wine taste the same from bottle to bottle, or even the differences from year to year. So we've actually placed an emphasis on improving the driver matching and the overall consistency, again, to get a better sound, a greater sound for the greatest amount of people.
Yeah, so I mean, with the M80, you did always seem to emphasize driver matching, or even the M100. I think any of your headphones, have you actually then tightened the tolerances with respect to driver matching with the XS even?
Yeah, we believe that the tolerances are unmatched by any rivals of our consistency. And it's actually a shame that many headphones, especially the cheaper they are or the more they're mass produced, actually in our labs show that a very striking variance from unit to unit, or even from the left and right drivers. And this to me is false advertising by some of the lower end models out there, or just models that are over mass produced.
All right, well, cool. You know, actually, I think that's an important point, is driver matching, and I'm glad you place so much emphasis on it. Well, you have for quite some time.
Yeah.
So we talked about the improved fit, and I think anybody is going to find the XS to fit better than the M80 or maybe any other V-moda headphone. It fits really, really well. And the sound improvement to me is also very worthwhile. So I'm glad to hear some of the things that they've changed and improved relative to the M80. But there's another aspect of the headphone I want to focus on. Now, I know the answer to the question, but I'm going to ask Val, what does XS stand for?
Well, it was a very hard decision to name the product XS, but it stands for Exceptional Sound, Essential Accessory, and Extra Small Size.
And that's really where I was going with this, is the extra small part of this. I don't think the size of the XS, when it's folded up, can be overemphasized. It's a really key part of the product, at least for me, and I think a lot of people will agree. So this is the XS folded up in its case. You can see how compact that is, and especially when you zip it up, it is so much smaller. So for a headphone that's essentially like a full-size headphone when it's unfolded, I don't know of any that fold up into something this compact. when they're folded up. So here is a crossfade LP, just to give a size comparison. This is a full size around the ear. Compare that to the XS. I mean, this is just tiny. And then this is the M100, which is one of the most compact full-size headphones. And look at the case here. Looks similar until you compare it. Let's compare it. Let me line up the bottoms here. So if you line up the bottoms, you can see that the XS is quite a bit thinner, just a little over half the thickness of the M100 case. And that compactness just cannot be overemphasized. So I think a lot of people, when they're kind of on the go, might grab in-ears just because they don't have the space for an over-ear. And I can't imagine that's going to be an issue with this. You should be able to stuff this into just about any nook or cranny inside of a bag.
So there really is no excuses not to take the XS with you anywhere you go. As a matter of fact, it's about the same size as some of the modern smartphones. The Note 3, here's the size comparison, as you can tell. And then here's the iPhone 5S as well. So it really is your essential companion, and really, I love it because I'll take it every time.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine. So I've already been carrying this a little bit, and even in a crowded messenger bag or my backpack, when I stuff it full of, well, usually a lot of other headphones, there's never really a space that this doesn't fit into. So I think that's really cool.
I think that at many companies the case is an afterthought, not only for headphones but for other products such as sunglasses. Sometimes I'll buy a sunglass and the case is almost triple the size of the sunglass itself. And I really wanted to emphasize that the case needs to be very ultra portable so you can take it with you everywhere you go. And it also needs to protect the headphone and carry your accessories for the headphones inside of it. So we really feel that this is the smallest case ever designed for a full-featured headphone, and it really changes the way that you'll use the headphone and take it with you all the time. So another thing that we did on the V-moda XS was, in addition to including the carabiner and loop like the previous models, is that we added 2 new small loops here. And what these 2 small loops are used for is optional accessory that we're making that's a chain. And the chain allows you to carry it like a clutch or a small bag. And then also we have a larger chain that allows you to put it around your shoulder. And I think that this is really the first time that anyone has ever done this with a headphone, where actually the case now has become a fashion accessory, if you will.
Yeah, I think, I mean, you guys have always kind of pushed you've been unabashed about the fact that fashion really drives a lot of your design. So I think that's very cool, and I think a lot of our more fashion-forward headfires and fashion-forward customers are probably going to totally dig. So we don't have one of the chains here. They're not ready yet. Actually, the ones you have are being used in a photo shoot right now.
Yeah.
But we're going to show you right now a photo on the screen about that shows what the chains look like. So they're available in a couple different lengths, you said, like a clutch length and then a shoulder length.
Yeah, we'll have 2 different lengths, and then we'll have a variety of colors as well.
Okay,
and they
cool.
can also be used as bracelets as well.
Oh, cool.
So you can use it in many different varieties.
Sweet.
In keeping with the accessory theme of the XS, we also developed the Boom Pro mic, which is compatible with all of the Crossfade series and, of course, the XS. And the Boom Pro mic really is an amazing accessory, as you can use it for Skype calls, video games, or any type of phone call. And really, the people on the other side of the phone or call will really appreciate it. In addition, it has a steel flex boom that allows you to perfectly position it to your mouth, or even tuck it away if you need to. And then the control here has a variable volume control and mute switch here. It really does extend the functionality quite a bit, and you'll find yourself using it all the time.
This is very cool.
And last but not least, one of the best features of the V-moda headphones is the laser engraved custom shields that you can get. When you purchase them from V-moda.com, we actually include an extra set of shields with any logo or design that you want. And you can pick from a variety of different colors. And this really allows you to endorse yourself and show your true colors.
So just to be clear, you have to order them from V-moda Direct to get the free shields.
Yeah, to get them included in the purchase price, you order them from V-moda.com, or you can purchase them separately for $25 without laser engraving or $45 with laser engraving.
But it comes with engraving if you buy the headphone.
Yes.
Okay, great. Just wanted to be clear.
Yeah, we actually are doing this as a very value-added feature because we want to really show that every V-moda customer should be unique.
So that's the V-moda XS. I wanted to thank CEO and founder of V-moda, Val Colton, for coming all the way from Milan, Italy to HeadFi HQ to give us the first look at the V-moda XS. Thanks a lot, Val.
Thanks, Jude. And I also wanted to thank the HeadFi community. All of your feedback really makes our products much better, and I sincerely appreciate it.
That's the V-moda XS. You saw it here first on HeadFi TV with Val Colton from V-moda. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Arrivederci.